For the first day of a weekend show or the world show, my schedule's been booked for 3 months now. And that hour that it would take to do You're Just One might be the only hour that I get to lay down and sleep. Usually it comes when I'm really tired or overwhelmed. And certainly if I have the time, I don't mind slipping that just one in. But usually when I'm tired, it can be like a pet peeve like that.
Bring them in on the rail at a jog, please. On the rail at a jog.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of On the Rail podcast. Today, we get to talk about some exciting upcoming show schedules with Miss Tara, and we're going to be talking about March the Arch with them as well. So I will let these lovely people introduce themselves. And if you guys just want to do a brief introduction, give us a little background in the industry that you've been involved with and what you're doing currently.
I'm Tara Landon, and I have been in the industry for 40 years, trained horses for a little while, and I band and braid now. And I also help my husband with his horse show, March to the Arch.
Hi, I'm Doug Landon. I'm the founder of March to the Arch. Was a horse trainer for 28 years and then got out of that and started working for DAC Vitamins and Minerals after we moved to Texas, and then also sell horse trailers. Pretty much March to the Arch takes a lot of our time. So we're excited about this year coming. Got a lot of good feedback so far.
Right. So March to the Arch is coming up. I have March 14th through the 19th. So what was the origin of this horse show? And we'll start there. How did this whole horse show come about?
Well, I got diagnosed with testicular cancer in 2005. Did about 18 weeks of chemo, 6 days a week, 8 hours a day for 18 weeks. And it was horrible. I mean, it was tough. So after I got through all that and some surgeries, I thought, man, I just want to start a horse show and, try to help somebody. So then I reached out to Mark Harrell Horse Shows, and then they've been a big part of it until they retired. And then, we've moved on and kept it going. And then since we moved to Texas, we've moved it to Fort Worth at the Will Rogers. And we're pretty close to $1 million that we've donated to different hospitals. Like when we were in St. Louis for several years, we donated over $500,000 there to Children's Resource Hospital in St. Louis.
Wow.
So then now we do everything through Cook's Children's right here in Texas.
So has it always been children's hospital type donations, or did you ever do cancer specifically? Or
we kind of stick with the children's. We just stuck with that and just went with it ever since.
Is there any reason you chose that specific?
No, not really. I just picked the kids and we kind of stuck with that, and that's what we've done. Yeah.
On that note, then, what is the mission of the horse show? I mean, obviously it's fundraising, but overall, what's your goal for the horse show?
In today's industry, I feel like you've got to have something for those people to come through those gates. We've gotten some really good sponsors. We're doing this $100,000 guaranteed money in the Western Pleasure slot class. Then we got guaranteed $50,000 in the hunt seat. And the response we've had on these slot classes has been amazing. You get those people to come through to come and show for that money, and they're bringing other horses. That means more stalls, their sponsorships. I feel like our horse show might be a little different than some. We've donated a lot of money, and horse shows it's all about the sponsors. I mean, they make it happen. I just wish we could get that facility to donate, and then it would make it a lot easier hitting that $1 million deal, but we haven't found a facility yet. But
we have a lot that we are offering this year. Doug mentioned the slot classes. It's a lot of money that we are guaranteeing there. We have $10,000 guaranteed in the senior trail and $10,000 in a open 4D barrel race. This is the first year for that. So we're kind of excited for it and hope that that will build some excitement at the horse show for people to go watch something different. We have the Run for a Million qualifier for the novice and non-pro riders. We have a lot this year. We have the hunters, 2 hunter derbies that we're offering, a high and low derby. Everything's NSBA approved. So we have trophies for everything. And NSBA they have a big horse trophy, bronze, that's beautiful. And they only give that for money over $75,000 in purse money. And they have granted us 2 trophies, one for each of the slot classes, because we are the only hunter under saddle fraternity class that's offering that kind of money.
Seen on Facebook that you've made a push to give more money in the hunter under saddle fraternity, which I'm a hunt seat girl right now. So I really appreciate that. So what made you decide this is the first year for the barrel race. And is it the first year for that $10,000 in the trail, or did you do that last year? And kind of what was your idea behind branching out to some of these events? Even, like the speed events are typically, in our NSBA classes.
AQHA kind of reached out to us about doing the barrel racing, the barrels and the speed race and the poles. We added a day to our schedule. It'll be on Tuesday. All day Tuesday only thing would be just the barrels.
Poles and stake.
Yeah. All the events on Tuesday. So it's new to us. We thought we would try it just to see if it would work. And it's had a lot of response in Texas. There's a lot of barrel racers and it's looking good.
And we have some great sponsors
for
the barrel race. And we have great sponsors for all of our money. Like Doug said, we couldn't do it without our sponsors. We couldn't do it without our exhibitors.
Yeah, I think most horse shows, it seems, are working hard just to break even and get their horse show off the ground. So the fact that you guys can make money to donate anything, I think, is a testament to the hard work. And I'm sure even getting sponsors takes a lot of work behind the scenes on your behalf to get that done.
It's a lot of work. We started working on 2023 horse show the day after 2022 was over. It's been a lot of work. And I think this year we have a lot more that we're offering than what we've ever done.
What made you move it from St. Louis to Fort Worth initially?
Well, we moved to Texas, so it makes it a lot easier. Everybody likes Fort Worth. The restaurants, the facilities, and 45 minutes from our house makes it a lot easier than trying to travel back to St. Louis. So we love it in Fort Worth. I think a lot of people like the venue in Fort Worth, and the trainers' customers can go downtown and watch. A lot of people go and watch the cattle drives, and at the restaurants there in downtown's a big draw for them.
So with your 2 main slot classes, the Western Pleasure and the Hunter Under Saddle slot class, what do you think sets those 2 classes that you offer compared to other maybe fraternity classes that are out there right now? Yours is limited, or is it maiden on both of them? Sorry,
No,
I can't remember. Limited.
Well, we set the eligibility, so it's not your typical eligibility. It's a 3 and over horse, so they can be any age. And the Pleasure, they have to have earned less than $5,000 as of January 1st. And the Hunt Seat, they had to have earned less than $3,500. Most novice horse classes are $1,000 or $2,500 earned. So ours is a little different. And we didn't really focus on maiden money just because of the other horse shows that are in March and April and May that offer maiden classes. We kind of wanted to do our own thing and not really compete with the other shows with the same classes or same eligibility. And that's why we tried something a little different with raising the eligibility money limit. And we are hoping that by doing that, it'll bring maybe some older horses and not just necessarily 3-year-olds, because there's some older 4 and 5-year-olds that are still green eligible that haven't won a whole lot of money or haven't been shown a whole lot. And, they could participate as well.
Yeah, that's cool. With you offering the speed events now, that kind of gives you an avenue into like a different subset of the horse industry. And I understand it's probably a trial to see how it's going this year, but are you encouraged by the response you've had to maybe get your foothold and increasing participation in the horse show just from a benefit perspective?
Yeah, It's looking good.
Yeah, it's looking
Yeah.
good. I mean, like the barrel people, they like to run for money. I mean, who doesn't like to go for money, right?
They're smarter than the rest of us.
Yeah.
I think.
But that's their thing. They have jackpots everywhere and the rodeos, and for them to run for points like that, really not what they do. I mean, some will come to the world show and they need to qualify. Having that money out there for them, we've gotten a great response. There's a whole another world out there when you start looking at the barrel racers. So we are hoping to reach that whole group and have those come participate.
Yep.
Do you have ideas for the following years on new expansion? Always thinking about it.
Let's take it 1 year at a time.
I feel like I'm trying to survive past March and then we'll think about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we work on it year round. And now that the first of the year is passed, I always feel like it's a very slippery slope now from January 1st to the day of the horse show when everybody starts moving in. And I feel like there's always so many final finishing touches to do this time of year. And before we know it, we'll blink and they'll be pulling in the driveway. So right now we're just focused on 2023. Entries are coming in. The deadline for the slot class was yesterday. And we are still taking entries though, all the way up until the day before they show. Everything else you can enter at the horse show. Stall reservations are coming in, and now it's just like fine tuning. So once we get through March and get all the bills paid and everything, then we'll start working on 2024. If things work this year, we'll continue it next year. And if they don't work, we'll try and make changes.
I love when we discuss all the folks that put on horse shows because everyone's so unique in how they want to do it and then present and what you bring to the table as a horse show. So I love all of the guaranteed money that you guys bring. I think that's very commendable just because, as Jenna said, we're kind of crazy and we don't always show for the money. Obviously, we're just a little different than what you're finding in the barrel racer. So I think it's intriguing and I like that. Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Thank you.
And it does put a lot of work more on than it does me because I'm not the best computer savvy person. And, a lot of these other horse shows, they're affiliated with state associations. It's just me and her. That's it. That's all we have. I mean, we're privately owned and we do our own thing. So anyway, so it does put a lot of work on her.
That actually was my question, was whether you guys handle you get all the slot fee entries and the stall reservations and all of that, or do you outsource that to a show management?
Well, that has, but then she's still involved.
Yeah, I'm fully involved. We do have a whole new staff this year that we're really excited about. I have a new show secretary and she comes highly recommended. She's from Utah. So we in Texas, in this part of the country and further east, we're not real familiar with her, but she comes highly recommended. I think she has maybe helped at NSBA World. Those girls have worked with her and she's been wonderful so far. She has been a big help and has helped make the entries, the stall reservations, like everything where people can do them online. So it's not as much paper. She's managing the reservations and entries and I'm managing the reservation and entries. So it's good to have that extra help where I didn't have that before. But Doug and I pretty much do everything. And then we have people that help us with stuff. I have a gal that manages the website and she's right here in Fort Worth. She'll be at the horse show and she's kind of my right-hand person without being in the office right next to me kind of thing. So I'm really excited about our team this year. Mm-hmm. And the rest of the team, everybody is familiar with. They see them all the time. And everybody just comes with a lot of experience.
Can't even imagine the amount of lists you guys have to have laying around to just all the little bitty things to remember.
Ring shorts, judges, airplane tickets, rental cars, motel rooms.
It's very overwhelming at times.
Yeah, you don't value what goes into putting on a horse show until you really start thinking about it like that. So
yes, I never realized until Doug and I got together and Mark and David were still running it at the time. And just to hear what they would talk about and what they worked on and what they put together. And then to be behind the scenes. I mean, ever since I started with it, I tell everybody, you need to work. If you're going to be in showing horses, you need to work every part of a horse show. Ring steward, in the office, just running entries or whatever, announcing, giving out awards, whatever, because to be behind the scenes, you see and get a feel for just a little bit of what goes on. But I don't think anybody realizes how much work it takes throughout the year to get things planned, especially when you're doing extra things like our show isn't just a horse show. Our show is a fundraising horse show. We are trying to raise money for Cook Children's. We're trying to make it fun for the exhibitors. We're trying to provide something different and offer things for the exhibitors that, like the money that's not just points, and hit kind of every arena with the trail, the pleasure, the hunt seat, the hunters, the barrels, and then make it fun for everybody. So while we're running in 50 million directions, trying to make sure everything's getting done right when it's supposed to, and everything's running okay, then we can't forget, oh yeah, we're going to play this game, or we have the auction, or don't forget the dinner. There's a lot, and it's year round. I mean, it's not constant every day, 7 days a week, but it is year round and a lot of detail.
Yeah, I'm overwhelmed by even thinking about it or hearing about it. So I think everybody should appreciate how much you guys do put into this. And, I know your time's largely just volunteered, for lack of a better word, on it. So before we wrap up kind of the March the Arch stuff, is there anything going on at this year's show or new about this year's show, or anything you want to tell everybody about the show coming up in March?
Love to have everybody come and enjoy it and come and win some money. I wanted to thank you girls very, very much. I've been wanting to do this for a long, long time. Nobody has ever asked us, and I appreciate you girls very, very much.
Well, we appreciate you humoring us, and we're happy to
really
help share the information about your horse show, especially with the benefits. And of course, we wish you good luck on it, and that it'll be an outstanding success for everybody.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go watch the Cowboys, and you can finish up with Tara.
Yeah, perfect. Forgot about Monday Night Football. Thank you, Doug.
I want to thank you girls as well for March to the Arch. This has been great. For anybody that's listening, they can go to our website at marchtothearchhorseshows.com, and all the information is there. They can do online entries there, reservations. If they want to donate, there is a donate button on our website, and the donation will go directly to the hospital. And just one more thing that I want to say is in Cook Children's, they have a Build-A-Bear Center. And what the Build-A-Bear Center is for the kids, patients, or siblings. They can go through the Build-A-Bear experience where they pick their bear, they pick the clothes, they watch the bear being made. They do this for the patients. And if it's a gift to the patient, like they'll dress them in a hospital gown, and it's something that the kids can relate to and hang on to. At the horse show, we'll have a dip jar. Called a dip jar. You can take your credit card and you can pop it in and out, and it'll charge your card $40, and it gives a child a Build-A-Bear experience.
That's pretty really awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
The dip jars will be around, mostly close to the show office, and then we'll have posters up with QR codes that you can make a donation through the QR code as well. And then it all goes straight to the hospital.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. And I loved Build-A-Bears when I was a young kid. So I know that would be tremendous.
Yes, my daughter too. She's 20 now, and I just got rid of like 15 different Build-A-Bears.
Right. Do you guys have a silent auction going on during the show? Or if so, do you still take items? Or
we do. That is next on my list to be working on to get items. I think I'm going to go back to the themed baskets this year, and any other items that anyone wants to donate. And we'll do the silent auction. The themed baskets I did one year, and it was a big hit. We had so many great ideas and big baskets, and people loved it. And we did really well that year.
Will there be information on the website about how to donate potentially as far as the silent auction or the baskets go? Or
there will be as soon as we get that pulled together. I would like to have it online this year so that people can see the items and bid online as well.
Okay.
We'll be sure to put that in our description so people can just click on that link.
I don't have it quite yet.
If and when it comes before we
Yeah.
get this episode out.
Okay.
I'm happy to
Perfect.
include that. If not, we'll try and put some descriptions in there.
We can at least link the just general homepage for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of all the questions I had about the show. Liz, did you have anything before we move on?
I think I'm good. I am excited to learn more about banding and braiding because I myself cannot do that at all.
Okay. Well, I can teach you. I'm trying to slow down, so I would love to teach somebody and take my place.
You need an apprentice, is what you're saying.
Yes.
So I guess firstly, you said that you used to train and stuff. Could you just give us like a background on your start in the industry?
So I started when I was a kid. Just like any kid, I had a horse that I showed 4-H, and then I moved into quarter horse. Back then, when I was a kid, there weren't any banders and braiders. So we had to do it ourselves. And actually, I showed youth before banding started. I think
Nice.
I was like graduating high school when banding started. So I always showed the hunter under saddle. That was my thing. And I had to learn how to braid my horse. And a friend of mine taught me how to do it. When the banding started, I rode with Kim and Renee Myers at the time. And Kim said to me, you could learn how to do this and I would pay you to do all of my customer horses. Well, I was 17 at the time, and that sounded great. So I taught myself how to band. And then through the years when I was training, I did all my own horses, and every so often I would do for somebody else. There still was not banders and braiders. Everybody did it themselves. And then when I went through my divorce and came back I took a couple years, and when I came back to the industry, I thought, well, until I can get some training horses and get started back up again, I'll band and braid in the meantime. By that time, there were braiders going to the horse shows. Thought, well, I'll do this in the meantime. I can make some money, pay to feed my baby that I had, and I can be out there. People can see me, and I can get started again. And I started making money. It was quick money, and I liked it. And so I wasn't getting any training horses, and I decided to just catch ride for a while. And the banding and braiding started to become a business, and it really just kind of took off for me. And before I knew it, I was full. I was everywhere I went. I had as much work as I could possibly do. So I stuck with that. I gave up my open card, got my non-pro card back. My daughter started showing, and it's been 14 years since I started it full time.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many manes do you estimate you have either banded or braided in that amount of time? Do you have any idea?
No. And I did count one time after the Congress. I was shocked. I was floored. I just couldn't believe the number. And I can't remember what it was, but it really was an astronomical number.
I bet. What I'm always shocked about when I watch you professionals do is how freaking fast you are at doing all of it.
I was going to say, yeah. So typically most of that happens in the night. So how many do you get through? How many can you book yourself in one,
How do you schedule a big horse show?
Yeah.
So I think I'm starting to physically slow down now. But when I was at my peak, and not at the Congress, the World Show, a schedule like that, NSBA World, those are different schedules. Those numbers of what I can do in a day is a little different. But like a weekend show, I could band 30 in a day and try and cut my braiding off at 10, but it usually gets cut off at about 15. But then I have tails to do too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. And
I thought that I was fast until I started helping the braiders at the hunter shows. And I mean, they are so fast. I look like a turtle. I look like I'm just slow as molasses.
Wild. But they also braid daily, right? Don't they take braids out?
They
day.
braid more than what I do because they'll braid every night.
Mm-hmm. So if you, particularly with the braiding side, if you're up all night braiding horses, but then to do tails, you usually have to do those day of or morning of. So
Right.
at these big shows, are you largely just sleep deprived the entire time?
Yes.
And how much does that wear on you?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Now, the last couple of years, I turned 50 2 years ago. And just here in the last 3 years, maybe, I've really noticed a difference physically about when I'm sleep deprived. It's really hard for me to keep going or to be as fast and get as many done. I'm wanting to slow down for those reasons. My age, and I'm just tired. In SBA world, it's 24-hour days. I shut my eyes for maybe 30 minutes, an hour, and then I go again. And it's hard. That's a 10-day show, and the body just can't keep going. At some point, it has to stop.
How do you keep your hands, wrists, arms, everything from just being destroyed?
It's taken me years to learn how to take care of myself. The early years when I started, I didn't know all the tricks and everything. And my hands would swell up and I'd have pains at nighttime and my hips would hurt, my back would hurt. So what I've learned now is I do get massages often, especially when I'm working. I ice my hands. I take ibuprofen before I go to bed. I wear pressure gloves, elevate my feet when I lay down to go to bed, ice packs.
You're like, I can't imagine why not everybody wants to do this.
Yeah. Not at all.
I think I pack like a carry-on suitcase with all of my creams and my ice packs and my
believe it.
It's a lot. I mean, I take a lot because I don't know what I'm going to need. I have a TENS machine that I take and gloves and just all kinds of stuff because I don't know what's going to hurt.
Do you enjoy it at all anymore?
When I'm not overbooked and I can relax and enjoy while I'm doing it, yes, I enjoy it. When I have 30 to do today and tomorrow and for the next 10 days and not enough time in the day, no, I don't enjoy that. It's very high stress. And people ask me all the time, how do you do this? How do you keep going? How do you do NSBA for 10 days without any sleep? How do you make sure that you don't miss anything and you're here and you get tails done and everybody is making it to the pen and I'm not stressing riders out because their horses are done and I'm out of the way before they show saddle? It's all adrenaline. It's 100% adrenaline. It's not necessarily because I have the energy, but it's the adrenaline that I want to do my job to perfection and not stress people out. I take the stress, but I don't want you to know that I'm stressed.
Imagine when you come home, you probably crash for
a
good amount of time.
I do. When I do that last tail or that last mane and everything's done or everything's collected before people start leaving the horse show and I can relax about it, I'm done. I just collapse.
Do you think you'll still travel to as many horse shows when you slow down on the banding and braiding, or is the horse shows a byproduct of making the money on the banding and braiding side?
I did tell my customers last year at NSBA that I was done after the World Show. I live here in Pilot Point, so I have a lot of customers that are neighbors and a lot of ranches around here that have photo shoots at home. So I like doing the photo shoots because it's never overwhelming. I'm right here at home. So I have done those. I did some before they left for Tulsa over the holidays. I don't mind doing horse shows around home, and I will still do some. And I will still do the big shows, but my numbers are not going to be as much. I'd like to kind of switch things around so that I can go to the quarter horse shows and have time to show, to get back into the showing and go and enjoy and sit with my friends and
do normal
and just be a normal person. Yeah. all my customers are my friends. And then everybody wants to chit chat or visit. And I just never have time because I'm always on such a tight time schedule.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, how were you scheduling out shows? Take your favorite show, for example. How would you schedule that out? Like how many tails do you do? And then braiding versus banding, I guess.
So the circuit shows or the weekend shows where it's one whole day of English and one whole day of Western, those are the easier ones to schedule because I know how many bands I can do in a day or how many braids I can do in a day. And usually my banding is done before I have to braid and do tails. So that's really easy to schedule. It's the shows like the Congress and NSBA World where you have tons of English and tons of Western all on the same day, every day, because then I can't do as much. So if I can do 30 bands and 15 braids on just those days individually, then when you mix English and Western together, I can only do half of that. So I might only take 15 or 20 bands and 10 braids and just lower it. So then it's maybe not as much money for me. I know it definitely doesn't help my customers because I can't fit everything in when the English and Western is mixed on days.
Aside from the money side, do you like it being mixed up from just gives you different something to do, or do you prefer to stick with one for an entire day?
I would prefer to stick with one for just an entire day. It's easier to manage.
Yeah. It's probably less stress just from a management standpoint.
I feel like you could get in a better flow too.
Right. You can get in a better flow. You can plan your day a little bit better. Your time, the amount of hours that you have to get everything done, it's easier to plan and not so stressful that I'm not going to get it all done.
What's your biggest pet peeves when you have to band or braid somebody?
My biggest pet peeve is when somebody asks me last minute, and if I tell them that I'm full and I don't have time, and they come back and say, well, it's just one. Well, I get that, but you knew that you were showing tomorrow when you drove however many hours to get here.
When you sent your entries in 2 months ago.
Horses needed to be banded and braided for the first day of a weekend show or the world show. My schedule's been booked for 3 months now. And that hour that it would take to do your just one might be the only hour that I get to lay down and sleep. Usually it comes when I'm really tired or overwhelmed. And certainly if I have the time, I don't mind slipping that just one in. But usually when I'm tired, it can be like a pet peeve like that.
What is that quote people say? Your lack of planning or organizing is not my emergency or something like that.
There you go.
Something like that. We would always get that when I was grooming back in the day when I was grooming dogs. People would always want in right before Christmas or right before Thanksgiving. It's well, your lack of planning does not make it my problem. So
Right. Yes, exactly. I'm kind of the one where my thoughts are written all over my facial expression. And so usually if I'm thinking it, you can see it.
That's probably before you even get sleep deprived for 10 days.
Yes. And then when I'm sleep deprived, it's like, really?
There's always certain people in the horse world that you really want to stay on the good side of. And it's like a good barrier because they are notorious for showing up late, but you still got to kind of coddle them a little bit. But I think a bander and a good bander and a braider is the same way, like keep them happy. Don't offend your good bander and braider because they help you out.
Yes.
Exponentially.
Yes. And in every breed association and the hunters everywhere, we don't have enough banders and braiders. We're all overwhelmed with the numbers that we're doing. And we need more people to be able to do it and help us. So if you have a bander, braider, and you like them, or even if you don't like them, if they'll show up and do it for you, you have got to treat them good because if you make them mad, the rest of them are full and can't fit you in. And everybody needs a bander and braider unless you want to do it yourself. So yeah, I mean, that's like scheduling. When they ask for your schedule, help them out, give it to them ahead of time before you get to the horse show. And after the horse show, make sure that you pay them in a timely fashion, because that upsets the braiders too. We don't want to have to run around and then beg for our money.
So we've kind of gone over like a lot of the hardship and the negatives of being a bander and braider, but obviously we need more of them. So what's the good sides of it? What could you tell somebody? Be like, this is why you should do this. This is a viable option for you.
I would tell somebody that they can be at the horse shows, they can be around the people, they can be around the horses. Horse people, horse lovers, that's what we want. We want to be there. We want to be in the action. And I have 25, 30 customers, and that's not 25 or 30 horses. That's 25 or 30 trainers that bring anywhere from 4 to 15 head of horses to the horse show. And I'm a part of that. I'm a part of what goes on behind the scenes. Yes, there's a lot that goes into that horse being ready or that rider being ready to show and winning that trophy. They do a lot at home, but that tiny little piece of the puzzle that makes that horse look pretty, like that's me. And when they're winning trophies, I'm winning trophies. And that's a big part of what I enjoy. Even when I'm exhausted and overworked, that's my biggest joy. I get to watch those kids grow up year after year and get better with their riding and start winning trophies. And I think, this was really fun. I make connections with people. I enjoy that part of it. And that's rewarding for me.
Do you still think it's a viable option for like an amateur that just needs some side money to fund their show habit? Is there a way to do both of those things, or is it hard to juggle both?
Absolutely. There's a way to do it. I mean, if they have time or can make time to do 3 or 5 horses, it'll help. Do they have time to do the numbers that I do? No, not really, because it's really hard to go ride and do what I do. But to make riding priority and then slip in a couple mains or 5 mains or 10 if they're fast, oh yeah, that'll help. Every little bit helps.
How would you suggest somebody, if they are interested in learning this, like should they approach one of you guys that is in it right now? Or are you guys willing to kind of give tips to people, or where does somebody learn to go band and braid at a good high level?
I have how-to videos out there.
Perfect.
And yeah, you can sign up. It's a monthly subscription. It'll teach the forelocks, the banding and the braids on the forelocks, the tails, the mains, and then there's tips and tricks that come all the time that I have come across throughout the years. They're very helpful. And you can also ask people at the horse shows if you see them doing it. I still do that. I'll see somebody and I like their work and I'll go up and watch them while they're working and be like, oh, you do, and I always learn something new.
Fascinating in a way, because you wouldn't think much has changed with mains in the last couple of decades, but I guess it's maybe your craft of how you go about doing it that can always be improved.
It's that, and it's also because there's no 2 mains that are the same. So every horse's neck is different. Every horse's tail is different. Every horse's hair texture and thickness and the way it comes out of its neck and its crest is different. So sometimes band might not lay down as tight, or I have people ask me their braids will turn, and instead of being straight, they'll be sideways. Is there anything they can do to fix that? And there is. And there's just small little tweaks that you can do and learn about. And with the quarter horses, with them getting banded and braided, they don't get thinned out like they should be to braid them. And they're blunt cut at the bottom because of being banded. And then sometimes they're hard to braid. So there's some tricks that we do to thin them out as we go without actually pulling them. So it makes it easier to braid. So I always learn from somebody, and I'm always willing to teach somebody.
There we go. You need an apprentice, like we said in the beginning.
I've had some girls work for me, and they're now doing it full time and have their own book of customers. So yes.
Do you have favorite products? Like, is there a certain band that you like to use, or do you use quick braid, or do you have any of those type of secrets?
I like to use Jack's bands. They're a little stretchier, but they're a lot softer on my fingers. And I have Braid Tight, which is my product, Tara's Maintain, and it is an equivalent to the quick braid that I like to use. Mm-hmm.
Is there anything people can do with their horse, either mane wise or probably standing tied, all those things to make your horse like a great candidate and easy peasy for a braider?
Every braider likes their horses prepped a little different. I like their manes clean. The Western manes, I've gotten on this kick this past year to wash and condition them right before I come to band them, especially moving into July, August, September, because they get crusty and dirty from being hot and sweaty so much over the summer. Right before NSBA and Youth World in August, I tell everybody start washing and conditioning, and the braided manes stop conditioning when you leave for the horse show, because they seem to rub more in August out here in Texas and Oklahoma than any other time of the year. That seems to help. And I've used some show sheen sometimes when I've banded, just to make the band twist a little easier.
Are you unique that you like your manes washed, especially braiding manes? I feel like I hear braiders don't want them super clean and conditioned. Or is that changing?
I don't want them super clean and conditioned. You're correct, because it's hard to hold the hair and hold it tight if it's super clean and slick. I definitely don't like show sheen on them if I'm going to braid them, but I do like for them to get some shampoos and conditions before they leave for the horse show. I don't like them real dirty and crusty to where my fingers are nasty dirty when I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
But a little bit of dirt doesn't hurt, because it helps hold everything tight.
That makes sense.
One more question for you. If you have a horse that itches its mane, do you have any secrets or remedies for a neck itcher?
Some of them, there's really nothing you can do. That's the 1%. 5%, I would say, or 10% of them, most likely, if you take the first 10 or 15 braids out, they'll leave the rest of them alone. And then it's so easy for the braider to come back and just pop in 10 or 15 braids. And it also saves on the expense for the owner.
Mm-hmm.
Most times that trick will work. And then if that doesn't work, usually those, like I said, are the 1% that I have not found anything.
There's always got to be one.
Mm-hmm.
There's always one.
Mine.
I was like, wasn't it you, Liz, that was telling me you have an itcher?
He's been roached for almost 3 years. And he's got the dino mane going on right now, because I am testing my patience to see if I can let it grow out. And I just have the feeling the first time we go to braid, he's just going to rip them all out, because he's a giant man child sometimes. So
Yeah. Well, that's all the questions I have. Anything else, Liz?
No, I think if you would love to, I don't know if you've done your guest profile, but any of those products that you like using, and especially the product that you've created, definitely, I think people would be interested in. So we can have that linked down there. And any of your demo videos that you were talking about, I think a lot of people would love that, because I know for amateurs like me, I would love to know how to actually braid my own horse. I've just never actually taken the time or have been taught how to. I just always pay somebody because it's easier to deal with.
Yeah.
So
Do you have a website? Like it's a subscription portal to your videos, or how do you? distribute those?
I do have a link that I can send you, and I have not done the profile yet. I will, with everything that's been going on.
Yes, no
Since
problem.
we got back from Florida. It honestly slipped my mind until you said it. So, but I will get that done for you, and I'll do it tonight.
Perfect. Yes, I think everyone would love that, especially if you include that in there. I think quite a few of us amateurs would enjoy that.
I will for sure. And it's always good to know how to do it, because even if you hire a braider, the braiders on weekend shows don't stay the whole time. And then you always have to fix something, right? So if you know a little bit how to do it, you can at least do that and not just be stuck.
Yeah, we were literally, it was a great big open show. It was a benefit show for breast cancer awareness. And we were going into the $1,000 hunt seat class, and he had rubbed, I don't know, half of his mane out. So we were just like, shave all the way down. Yeah.
That's awesome. Not awesome, but awesome. You got to do what you got to do. Yeah, it'd probably be nice to learn a little bit so you can bail yourself out of it and you know what moment. But
yes. Yeah. And let me tell you, some manes should be roached. They're either too thin or too thick and you can't get them pulled enough, or the horses just don't like them and it's just easier for everybody. So there are some that I agree should be roached.
Yeah, he might end up going back that way, but we'll see. We'll give it a shot at least.
Yeah. And then you still need to braid the forelock in the tail.
Yep. I cannot do forelock braids at all. I can't even band a forelock, to be honest. It's very bad. But yeah, I'll watch your videos and then I'll and then I can get better.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. All righty. Well, while we're wrapping up, Tara, I don't know that you're taking any new braiding or banding customers, but if it's your contact info, whether for March the Arch or potentially mains down the road, do you want to provide any of that for the listeners?
Sure. You can reach me on Facebook. My private page, personal page is Tara Doug Landon. We share it. So Tara's Equine Services and Products is my business page. I don't have a website, and I am on Instagram.
Perfect. All righty. We'll wrap us up, and we'll have more details in the show notes when this episode gets posted, and we'll include the March the Arch website. And so if or what you guys have developed for any of the auction stuff, if it exists by then, it can just be linked through your website, I'm sure. So that'll be.
Yeah. And March the Arch, you can also find that on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Awesome. We appreciate your time. Thank you I know it's been a busy weekend for you guys, and thanks for catching up with us, and wish you all the luck with the successful show in March.
Thank you. Will we see you girls there?
I hope I can run down there. Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually hoping to make it down that weekend too. I have it in my planner.
Oh, good. Be sure to grab me.
Yeah.
We'll do.
Yes.
We do.
Yes.
All right. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
I appreciate you girls. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, that'll be your class. Bring them in and line them up.